It's Anne Emerson here. Wait till you hear about the stories that our team has been obsessed with over here at Criminally Obsessed. Megan has been digging into a Virginia zoo with 2 missing baby giraffes, and it's giving Tiger King vibes. I've got the latest on one of the most anticipated trials of the year. But first, Eric is going to fill us in on an alleged Amish sex murder. Let's get to it.
A disturbing, unusual murder case out of Ohio's Amish country.
A young Amish man, Samuel Hochstetler, is accused of murder. And it appears the only other witness at the scene was a goat. Eric, I can guess you have a lot of reasons, but why are you obsessed with this story?
And just look at the mugshot. I saw that mugshot and I immediately needed to know more. The distressed hat, the bowl cut, the wide look in his eyes. I was like, what could this man possibly be arrested for? And then to find out it was murder, like I needed to go deeper. An 18-year-old Amish dude arrested and charged for murder, the murder of a 28-year-old Amish woman. And then the only witness is a goat, apparently. Like, I needed to know. I needed to dig deeper. This story is insane. It's wild. I've never seen something like this.
So, Eric, take us through this case. What have we learned about these murder charges against Samuel Hochstetler?
Well, this whole thing is, it's kind of a journey. So you have to start from the beginning where Mose Troyer, who is a member of the Amish community in Miegs County, happened to notice that Rosanna Kinsinger had been missing throughout the day. He decides to go check on her by the end of the day and realizes that she's been in her house dead for at least 24 hours. He calls the police. We actually have the 911 call where you can hear it.
The one that's dead is Rosanna Kinsinger. She's just found in her bed like that, so we don't know. She's dead? She's dead. She seems to be already struck, so I think she's been dead early this morning or last night, and we didn't find it out.
You can tell, like, I mean, first of all, like, it's probably a lot for an Amish person to, like, realize that something terrible has happened, that he needs to involve the outsiders, right? Like, I can only imagine what's running through his head when one of his own is dead. Now, of course, like, they take her to get her preliminary autopsy done, and things kind of come up as inconclusive, but for the most part, they ended up deciding that there was something suspicious about her death. Months go by. There's no real word of what's happening. And then in May, they charge Samuel Hochstetler, who apparently, when he was arrested and the police talked to him, he ended up confessing, this is per their own words, that he confessed to having sex with Rosanna the night she died, and then wrapping a blanket around her head while they were having sex. And when he finished, he flipped her over and she was dead.
So why 2 months? Why would it take 2 months for them to get Samuel Hochstetler? It doesn't sound like he was holding back.
No, but I think it's just the way that the Amish work. They're a very private community, and they kind of settled things on their own. Per the police words, like their investigation, they said that they had to get really secret tips. They needed to hear rumors. They had to really interview a bunch of people. Like, they weren't getting a full-on answer of like the relationship between Rosanna and Samuel. Hell, to this day, we still don't even know how long they've been together, if this was like a one-night thing, or like how long they've even been friends, or how long they've known each other. So they had to really dig this information out and take their time with it to really start connecting the dots on what happened.
What sticks out to you, Megan, about this?
Well, first of all, the goat. Like you said the only witness to this was a goat. So I would like to get into that in a little bit, because I think it's really strange that say she accidentally died suffocated because she had a blanket over her head during sex.
Yeah.
Why didn't he call 911 immediately when when he realized she was dead? Is the neighbor having to find her and call 911? That's immediately red flag? No.
To me, this seems like more of a, and I'm honestly shocked that they're going with murder, because it sounds more like a manslaughter case where it was just an accident.
Right. You've got a great point. There's no sex crimes that are associated with this. They've only given one indictment on murder charge, right? So they're saying that there's a purposeful murder here, but they're not putting any indication of what happened around it. There's no assault charges next to it, is what I'm trying to say.
The only thing I can think of, if they're thinking that cold-blooded murder, is that maybe while in the midst of having sex with Rosanna, and this is just a theory, he felt the guilt because premarital sex is not a no-go in the Amish community. It is a sin. Now, you can repent and you can be forgiven if you do these actions. The only time you're shunned from your community if you are repeatedly doing this thing. But I almost wonder if like Samuel had like a moment of like severe guilt. Maybe he was blaming Rosanna for seducing him, and in the midst of having sex with her, he strangled her, whether it was on purpose or by accident. But that could also be a possibility. And the interesting thing about this whole thing being like connected to the Amish community is that like we're hearing from Rosanna's dad, and he's out here saying that he actually forgives Samuel for his actions. They have fully said like we want him to repent for the things that he did, but at the same time we forgive him. They are a very forgiving community when it comes to horrible things like this.
I'm just not buying it. Like, I don't know, you guys. I don't know why I'm so skeptical. Oh, end of the day, like, it's accidental. Like, you guys, like, he's forgiven. It's whatever. And I'm like, no, all of my red flags are raised right now. I'm like, this is super fishy. I still am coming back to the fact that he didn't call 911 himself when she was dead.
Why was the community out in force? The Amish community, that was a stunning picture that we saw.
You know, I think it's a story of two things. I think they're there to support the Kinsinger family because obviously they have to be there for, you know, their daughter's murder. But also, I think they're also there to support Hochstetler in a way. Like, yes, he is on trial for murder, but because they are a forgiving community, they're there to support him through this process, from what it seems like.
Well, I mean, Megan, we didn't get to the goat. What do you think about the goat?
All right, you guys really want to know about here's my thing about the
just
goat.
tell me what. Yeah,
they are farmers. They said that she had a pet goat. I think she just had a pet goat that lived with her. Everybody's like, oh, did they have sex with the goat? I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's what we're dealing with here.
How do we know that the goat was in the room? Did he say that? Like, is that confirmed?
Mose said that when he walked in and he found her body, the goat was inside as well. He said that the goat was in the house. I don't think Sam said it was me and the goat that did it. Like, I don't think
you can't blame us for asking the question though.
I
right?
know. I get it.
But I do want to know,
I
seriously,
hear the goat is the only witness, I have to know what that means, you know?
That's fair.
Take me to justice on this case. Like, what does justice look like for the community?
I mean, as far as justice goes, I think their form of justice is repenting. I think they really just want Samuel to repent for what he did. Whether that's a full confession in front of them and just said like, yep, it was me. I did it. I'm sorry. I hope God forgives me. I think that's what they want. I think the county itself wants to put him in jail for how long. But I think that's the best way of justice for them. And I don't know if it will lead to a shunning. If he gets like a lighter sentence and he gets out years from now. I don't know if he'll be shunned from this community or if they'll welcome him back. That's up to that community to see if they want to do it.
Be sure to tell us what you think. Leave it in the comments. And we're going to keep on discussing this case. But we're going to move on from this alleged murder to an animal mystery.
2 baby giraffes from the Natural Bridge Zoo are missing.
That's right. 2 baby giraffes missing from the Natural Bridge Zoo in rural Virginia. Megan, why are you obsessed with this story?
And it's like the first time I heard about this story, I was like, how can 2 baby giraffes go missing? Like, they're 6 feet tall usually when they're born. That's something that's hard to lose. But as I looked more into like the family that owns the zoo and the history of this specific zoo in general, they have like such a shady past, and it's like not surprising at all actually that this happened.
What did you find out?
This zoo is like well known to be seedy by everyone in Virginia. I'm a Virginia local. I went to college 1 hour away from this zoo, and the reputation has always been bad. So people are not surprised by this news.
Oh my God, you've heard of this zoo before? You've heard of this zoo before?
I've driven past it.
Oh, that's crazy.
basically, this zoo it was started by a father, Carl Mogensen, and he is now older. So he's passed down this zoo to his daughter, who is now one of the co-owners who's running it, Gretchen Mogensen. And it just seems like this entire Mogensen family is really involved in all of these different zoos in Virginia. Like they have one of the brothers owns the Safari Park Zoo and the Reston Zoo. And they just have this long, complicated history of allegedly abusing their animals and confirmed abusing their animals.
Tell me what's going on with these giraffes. It sounds horrifying.
Okay, so in December of 2023, there was kind of a state done raid on this zoo where they went in and they seized almost all of the animals. They did a count of all the animals. They found 28 animals actually dead on the premises, or parts of animals.
How could it still be running? What do you mean there's a bunch of dead animals? How is it still running?
Also, what kind of animals? Are it exotic animals or just
Yes, exotic animals, Eric. And the way it's still running is just crazy. The laws aren't super strict in Virginia. There's loopholes. There's stuff that are sort of made. These people haven't even actually been charged with specific criminal charges. Their animals have just been seized themselves. And so they've been in the process of removing the animals slowly from the zoo, because it is, Eric, it is big giraffes. And at one point there was a zebra and then they found actually a zebra pelt and I believe legs of a zebra when they were there in December of 2023. So they've also found parts of animals. Yeah, a ton of sketchy backstory.
It's like the zoo is run by Cruella de Vil.
I know, right? So how are we finding out about this?
Okay, so basically they did that raid in 2023, seized all of those animals, and they had 4 giraffes on the premises, 3 females, 1 male, and they were supposed to seize and move those giraffes away, but it takes a lot of time because these are really big exotic animals that are hard to move. So in the meantime, they stayed at the Natural Bridge Zoo, and in that time, 2 of the giraffes got pregnant, and so they decided to keep them there for a little bit longer since it's a really unstable condition. Lots can happen. And so the state would do inspections on the zoo every once in a while and check in to make sure everything's okay. Eventually they come to do an inspection. They realize the giraffes aren't pregnant anymore.
According to court documents, the giraffes just gave birth.
And who doesn't get excited about a baby giraffe?
But the babies are nowhere to be found.
The babies just disappeared?
Yep. They went to the zoo to do their normal inspection. And it was really weird because Gretchen Mogensen herself, I found some affidavit paperwork and stuff about when they went to do this inspection. She did not want to let them in the zoo. They came and she was I'm not going to be there tonight. So they come the next morning and she's I'm not going to be there till later. And then they're
babies
okay,
are dead.
It's later. Yeah. It's really suspicious. So they end up coming. They see that the giraffes clearly aren't pregnant anymore. See that there's some afterbirth on one of the giraffes' tails.
Okay.
And they're just where are the babies? And yeah, Eric, you said, with this history that they have of finding a ton of deceased animals in their zoo, it's not looking good.
This story is giving all kinds of Tiger King vibes, isn't it?
Yes. And actually, it's funny that we bring that up because this story is directly connected to one of the main characters in the Tiger King series. You guys remember Doc Antle?
Yes, I know Doc Antle. I went to his place once for a story.
Myrtle Beach is right by you, right?
Oh, absolutely. I got put out there for a live shot once, so with a very large tiger. But we digress. I don't think those babies are dead. I have another theory.
They might not be dead. Because this is the twist that I have. I found a report that the Humane Society of the United States did in 2014. And they went into the zoo and took pictures and learned a lot about the conditions of the animals. And in that report, it says that this zoo is known to sell baby giraffes for $60,000. So
to who?
It might be a case. Other exotic animal owners, kind of like a Tiger King situation where you're trading the young tigers. That's how they're connected to Doc Antle, is because they were giving him 1 week old baby tigers. And so it's not out of the question to think that maybe these giraffes are sold. It is possible that they died. They had all of those dead animals, but specifically in December 2023, when they did that inspection of the zoo, they found 2 giraffe tails, 3 giraffe legs, a giraffe cape, which is the skin of a giraffe, and then also a giraffe head. So something shady could have gone down also as well.
Well, this is an amazing story. I don't know if you have any roadside attraction zoos near you, but tell us what your experience is with this. Leave it in the comments and tell us what you think about this story and how are they going to find these baby giraffes? Do you think they're alive? This is such a wild story, Megan. Thanks for being on top of it.
And speaking of being on top of cases, Anne, you have been following the Idaho college murders for, I don't know, like since the very beginning of this case. And you were even featured in a documentary about the case.
For parents, this is the worst case scenario. When you send children off to school, the last thing you're thinking is that there's going to be a mass murder.
So Anne, absolutely tragic case. Tell us more about this documentary, and also tell me why you're obsessed with this case.
It's like a primer, you guys, of this unbelievably horrific story out of Moscow, Idaho. The 4 college students that were brutally murdered in their house. We're now facing a trial of the alleged murderer, Bryan Kohberger. It as a parent, I can't help but be obsessed with this case. I've got a kid who is just finished her first year of college. So I know what it feels like to send your kid off to school and think that everything is going to be okay. And just as soon as I heard about this case, I knew I was going to have to follow every single thing.
Yeah, I love that's the angle that you take throughout the documentary. Like, you really lay into the fact that you're like, I have kids like around their age, and like this could happen. It's sadly one of those things, like, you don't want to say this could happen to anybody, but this could happen to anybody, but you just don't think it ever will, because this is just an out-of-pocket, like, horrible situation. Like, why would this happen to anybody? And for me, like, I didn't know much about this case because this was back in 2022. So, like, I wasn't really, like, in the true crime space like I am now. So I love, like, the little details that we got threaded. I mean, that 911 call is absolutely gut-punching.
She's not well. What's wrong? She's not waking up.
And I didn't even realize there were 2 other people in the house at the time that it happened.
There were 2 more roommates, and the fact that they were actually had to kind of go through this unnervingly scary night where they didn't know what had happened in the house. I mean, you know, Megan, you're probably the closest in age, you know, obviously you are to this kind of circumstance. Just trying to understand how they were texting each other and stuff when you were listening to that in the documentary. It's really scary, isn't it?
It is so scary. I know all about this case because this happened the fall after I graduated from college. It was like very fresh. It very much felt like this could have been me. This could have been my friends. I mean, I feel like everyone is so trusting in their college town. Like, I know a lot of people leave their front doors even like unlocked because that's just what you do. College feels like that safe space where you could do that sort of thing. As much as I knew about this case, I still learned like a lot from this documentary. I thought it was really good compiling everything. And that was actually my first time, because I've read transcripts, it was my first time listening to that 911 call, and it just like absolutely broke my heart.
Yeah, it's chilling. It's chilling. And, you know, I think that what is fantastic, this really puts you there as this was going on. And I think this is going to be, right, I think it's going to be incredibly helpful as we get to the trial. They have this suspect, Bryan Kohberger. He's been charged with the murder. He's facing the death penalty. And we're coming up on that in August. So this is an opportunity for everybody to take a deep breath, watch this, and really get a primer on what happened from the people that were there.
And it even like reminded and refreshed me about some things, like how at first they didn't think there was a risk to the community, and like this wasn't a huge case, and then it ended up like getting bigger, and it was just, oh my God, it just brought everything back to me.
And as far as Kohberger goes, because you mentioned him, we know that like he studied criminology in college while he was, you know, living in Moscow. So I wanted to know, like, obviously he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's still, you know, awaiting trial. But if he is the one that they find guilty, do you think that possibly like his background in criminology might have played a factor in his role in this?
It is so eerie, isn't it? And we're learning more about his background and what he was studying. And this was this suspect was deep into the world of criminology. I think we're going to learn a lot more about why he found this so fascinating. They're obviously taking apart every single thing, you know, and the reason they've stayed zeroed in on Kohberger, of course, is because of a DNA link that law enforcement says is a really a very strong link to the murder scene. And, as we understand how much Bryan Kohberger, the suspect, was studying as he was allegedly involved in this whole thing, it is the creepiest story you're going to hear.
And honestly, like a lot of this information works in the favor of the prosecution. But you made a really good point about Kohberger's defense in the documentary, towards the end of the documentary. Let's go ahead and play that clip real quick.
There's another thing that the defense has brought up. They think some evidence for another person of interest could be buried within all of these leads.
Can you even imagine? I mean,
I'm not buying it.
Well, and I think it's really hard for the judge to buy it. So what we just heard, the latest on this case right now, is that we just heard the judge say, look, you want to come, the defense wants to come to the table with either an empty chair or an alternate suspect theory. You need to give us more evidence. And so as we go into June, as we start going into the summer here, we're going to start learning more about whether or not the defense, Bryan Kohberger's defense team, really has an alternate suspect theory. And I don't know who they're pointing the finger at, or if they're just pointing it at what we call the empty chair. I don't know, but it's got everybody buzzing. I mean, I want to hear what everybody has to think about this as well, especially because I'm going to be going back, you guys. I'm going to be in Moscow, Idaho, for the trial of Bryan Kohberger. I'm going to go actually early, and we're going to be watching every single thing that comes out of the preliminary and all of the flurry of motions that are going to be heard before the trial. We've got to get jury selected in this. And of course, I'm not in Moscow. I'm going to Boise, Idaho, because this trial has been moved because of so much attention that's been put on it.
Well, boots on the ground, Anne, is what I probably should start calling you, because you're always traveling. You're always there for the, you're always there in the nitty gritty. But, get in the comments, guys. Let us know. What do you think about this case? Are you, excited to see how this thing plays out? Are you curious about how it's going to play out? And while you're at it, get into the comments for the actual documentary, which is on our YouTube page, Idaho Murders, Search for Justice. Check it out. It's awesome. It's so good. There'll be a link for it in the description of the video. And thank you for telling us more about it. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a lot more from Criminally Obsessed on this. We're going to be there for this trial. I'll be there. And you can certainly reach out to me at any point and ask questions about what you think is going on with this as well. But starting in August, I mean, the trial starts August 11th. So we'll let you know all of the information you need to know on the Bryan Kohberger case. But thank you so much, Megan. Thank you so much, Eric, for being with us. And we are excited to hear what you think about the show, what we can bring to the table, what else you want to know. For Criminally Obsessed, we are always obsessed. We want to know what you're thinking. Thanks.